What is up, all you individuals out there? It's me, full-time anime man, and I gotta say, this year sucks, man. Man, I have lost so many good people over 2023. Like it just literally got started, and yet, my sister, she recently passed away, and recently one of my favorite YouTubers have recently passed away. He goes by the name of Slick Goku, but his name is Reggie. And man, that guy was my idol ever since I was in high school. I'm really gonna miss him a lot, but I'm gonna miss my sister the most, man. We may have had our ups and downs, but she was still my sister and all. But I gotta keep pushing forward because that's what she would want me to do. Anyway, next thing I'd like to say is sorry that this what if took so long to get back to. Been dealing with a lot of stuff lately, and yet I'm finally ready to proceed with this story. And I gotta say, the ending is coming soon, and whew, you guys are gonna get a real kick out of it. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into this story. This is What If Deku Was a Storm Wolf. Hope you all enjoy. Duly note, I will be screaming and shouting at this timeline, so be prepared. Where we last left off, Izuku had found the last members of his mother's side of the family. During his adventures, the young boy had discovered that his ability to transfigurate into a wolf was a gift from the gods, but he learned that his ability came at a cost. For whoever saw a red man was destined to die a strange death at any age, at any time. Izuku would fight against a cougar who he thought was going to kill his grandfather, and in order to save his life, Izuku took one for one. But in the end, it did not stop his grandfather from dying, for a strange man appeared from a light out of nowhere and shot his grandfather dead. When all was said and done, Izuku lost control of his magnetic abilities, and he attracted many magnetic items towards him at a dangerous rate. Soon, he met Stain, and over time, the two would grow a bond, and soon, Izuku found out a strange profession that Stain had to murder certain heroes. And at the last second, Izuku saved his brother for when Stain was about to bring the blade down on him. We pick up where we left off. Izuku. Hey, you okay? Am I okay? Dude, you have a whole sword in your chest. It's fine. I can't feel pain, remember? Izuku looks over to Ida and Native and asks them if they're okay, but they were speechless. Izuku smiles, looks back down at his brother and says, "Hey, just stay here and relax. I'm going to take care of this." Izuku then reaches over, touches the tip of the blade that was pierced completely through his chest, and it sends a small shock through it, forcing Stain to let go of the blade. The sword still dangling from his body, Izuku gets up and he slowly starts walking towards Stain, and Stain backs up out of fear. "You just tried to kill my brother." Stain tried to defend himself, saying that he got in the way, and even tried to blame Ida for wanting revenge over protecting someone who really needed help. Izuku was having none of it. He then uses his magnetic powers on Stain's weapons, and he magnetically stuck them to the walls. "I saw good in you, Stain, and I still do, but what you did was completely unacceptable. You attacked an innocent man, but you stabbed and wounded a UA student, but he and you dare tried to kill my brother." Stain's back hits the wall. He doesn't know what it is, but he's scared out of his mind because of Izuku. It was like he was being cornered by a hungry tiger. Without saying anything, Izuku extended his finger out, and he shocked Stain with high voltage of electricity. 1 minute went by, and Stain's hair started to burn and smoke, and Izuku stopped, and Stain's back slid against the wall, unconscious. Izuku looks down at his waist, and he sees something in his pocket. He rummages around, and it reveals the crested Edis eggs. Stain had stolen them from him. He turns his attention back to the injured ones. Slowly, Ida started moving. Izuku helped him up, and then he checks on Denki to see if he was able to move, but Stain's quirk was still in effect. and Izuku tells them that they need to get to a hospital for his sake, and, well, if anyone else needed to go. Ida said in concern, "Mr. Kaminari, are you okay? That sword is still in your body." "It's okay, I don't feel pain anymore. Plus, this sword is the only thing that's stopping the bleeding." They then check on Native, who was still a bit rattled, but he was able to move. Izuku analyzes the situation and knows that if the police or pro-heroes know that they use their quirks on Stain, that they will get in trouble, except for Native. To which Izuku told him that Native can have all the credit as long as he doesn't tell the police that they were there. Native accepts this deal, but he urges that Izuku goes to the hospital immediately. They cover their tracks, and they call the police and pro-heroes, and they leave. They make it to the hospital, and almost immediately the medics take Izuku and Ida to help them with their injuries. Denki reaches out, not wanting to be separated from his brother again, but he had no choice. Before he is out of sight, Izuku tells him that it's going to be okay, and that they'll see each other again soon. He takes his hand, and then, just as they were separated, he notices that Izuku gave him the eggs to watch over for him. The medics take him and Ida away, and a few hours later, Denki, mother, and father were allowed to see Izuku in his room. He was currently under sedation, so he will be asleep for a while. They were all on the verge of tears and seeing Izuku in his condition. He had a neck brace to help him with his whiplash. He had large amounts of bandages covering the left side of his ear where his eardrum was ruptured. They tried to help him with that, but unfortunately, he's now deaf in the left side. His hands were stitched up really bad, and his left leg was patched up. Father starts to cry uncontrollably, cursing himself. He punches the wall. Damn it, damn it, damn it! Oh, if I had simply just told him the truth from the beginning, none of this would be happening. Honey, it's okay. There's no way you would have known that this would happen. Father says, I know, I just feel responsible and that it's all my fault. Denki angrily says, Dad, how about you stop throwing yourself a pity party and just be glad that he's back and not dead? You're right, son. I'm sorry. But most importantly, he places a hand on Izuku's shoulder. I'm sorry, Izuku. A few hours would pass. Izuku wakes up and he finds himself limited on his movements and his immediate family sleeping nearby. Izuku thinks to himself, I'm having some strange deja vu right now. Izuku then starts reflecting on what happened to his grandfather and when he was casted out from the family that he helped build. Izuku wasn't sure what it was, but for some reason, the thought of that moment really hurt him emotionally. He's felt sad before, but for some reason, this really hurt him, as if he could feel pain again, but he knew that he couldn't. For some reason, his brain was taking pleasure from this. As if it felt something it hasn't felt for a long time. Izuku starts crying and sobbing uncontrollably, which woke his parents and brother. They comfort him, and after a while, Izuku managed to calm down, and they would ask him what happened. And Izuku would tell them almost everything. He just decided to leave the part out about his family's curse. I'm sorry. I didn't know that Stain was a hero killer. It's just I found him in the bad state he was in and he looked like he needed help. Denki tells him that he shouldn't blame himself and that it's in his nature to help people, whoever needs it. And Father spoke up, apologizing to Izuku, and Izuku told him that it's fine and that the best thing that they can do right now is just move forward. I'd hug you, but I would have to break myself from my restraints. They all laugh. It's the next day. Izuku, still bedridden, and all of his friends along Class 1A actually came to visit him, with Jiro being the most excited to see Izuku home, but Kami being a little too happy to see him. She would hug Izuku, wrapping her arms around his head and smothering him with her breasts. Izuku, I'm glad to see you again. I feel like it's been a long time since I've seen you, and I feared that you were eaten by wolves, but then again, you're a wolf yourself, so that might be cannibalism. But then again, there's other predators out there, but that doesn't matter. You missed out on a lot of schoolwork, and you got so much work to catch up to. Jiro breaks them apart while saying, "Stop that! You're killing him!" Oh, come on. It's just a hug. Yeah, well, I know that, but can't you see with all these bandages that he's in enough pain? Izuku says, "It's okay, Jiro. The doctors had to sever a certain nerve in my spine, so I can't feel pain anymore." Jiro then asks, "Well, how does he feel?" To which Izuku says, "He's fine." She would then ask him who did this to him, and Izuku looks at Denki and then back at Jiro, and he said, "A madman who thinks that he has nothing left to lose. He attacked me and my bro and Ida, and we were lucky enough to make it out with our lives." Soon, everyone gets ready to leave, but then Izuku sees a familiar figure in the background. It's Bakugo. Hey, is that Bakugo back there? He tries to hide, but Izuku calls him up. Everyone moves aside, and Bakugo starts slowly walking towards Izuku's bedside. "What do you want?" Izuku says, "How you been?" "Anyway, I just wanted to say thank you." "For what?" he asks. "Well, someone told me that while I was quote-unquote gone, they told me that you tried to bring me back to life, and to some extent you did, and you saved my life, and I just wanted to say thank you in person." Whew. Bakugo felt extremely appreciated by that, but he simply just grunted and said, "You're welcome." While they were talking, the doctor came in and commented about how many friends Izuku has, but he gets to the point. He goes on to tell Izuku that Recovery Woman will be here in 3 days after the funeral. Everyone in the room is confused. Funeral? Like, wait, who died? "Oh, you don't know? Well, last night, while the city was under attack by Nomus, a certain hero was killed in the assault." "Who?" The doctor said, "Midnight." "Midnight was killed?" asked Mina Ashido. "Yeah, she was shot to death, and she was found dead." Everyone was shocked. I mean, sure, she was Midnight, she was a bit sadistic, and she showed off a lot of sex appeal, but she was a great hero who cared for everyone that surrounded her, even the students. Everyone starts moping, dejected about the horrible outcome. After a while, everyone left and wished Izuku to get well soon, along with his classmates. Soon, it's just Denki and Izuku, who chatted up for a while, and they would make plans to do things after he leaves the hospital. But while they were talking, Izuku thought to himself, should he tell Denki the truth about his family curse? That someday he might die a bit sooner than later? I mean, it can't be that bad, right? His grandfather lived a long time. Maybe I'll just keep this a secret for now. 3 days had passed, and everyone moaned for the loss of a beloved hero. Recovery Woman visited Izuku Kaminari and informed him of the consequences of her kisses, saying that it might leave him drained of energy for quite a while, to which Izuku didn't mind that at all, because of his cells. Soon, she gets started kissing him. Pink light would start surrounding his body, and he would start to heal. Recovery Woman felt something different about this. It was unusual. Usually she could feel that she's draining too much of the person from their stamina, but with Izuku, she felt like he wasn't getting tired at all. She stopped and asked, "Do you feel tired?" "No," said Izuku. "Oh, okay. Well, I'll keep going." She continues to heal him, and to her surprise, she actually managed to heal him completely, other than his ruptured ear. Recovery woman says, "This is amazing." What? I healed you and you're still okay. Yeah, it might have something to do with the fact that I have both positive and negative charges in my cell, which gives me my ability to emit electricity and have limitless power. Recovery woman thinks for a moment and wants to make a deal with Izuku, but for now she just wants to let him go home and be in his own bed for a few days. But before they leave, another doctor entered the room and informed Izuku about the situation about his inability to feel pain. He is warned that Izuku and his brain he warns Izuku that his brain will be sending his body an unhealthy dose of adrenaline to his body, to which it will grant him even more strength than he originally has, so he's going to have to learn to watch his temper. His brain will also be shifting moods, such as feelings of depression, loneliness, and anxieties. So, they highly suggest that Izuku sees a therapist. Soon, Izuku goes back home. "Oh man, it's good to be home." "Yeah, it's great to have you back, bro. Come on, I moved your bed back up to my room, so let's go play some video games for a while." They do this, and their mother informs them that she'll call them down when dinner is ready. The boys make it to their bedroom. Izuku sees his desk, and he sees the crested Edis eggs in a tiny basket filled with cotton while under the light of a lamp. A while passes, and the two are playing a fighting game. While playing, the boys would win a round and lose a round each time. "Hey, Denki, what's up?" "I think it's best that we get to training as soon as we can with Black Whip." "Yeah, that sounds like a good idea to me. You know, when I unlocked Black Whip, I stupidly jumped off of a skyscraper." "What? Why?" I don't know. I just had a stupid moment, that's all." Izuku looks at the eggs, and he can remember the first time he accidentally activated Black Whip. And he just feels horrible for what he did. And he sighs and says, "Well, we'll call All Might tomorrow morning." "Alright, sounds good. Anyway, let's keep playing." They continued their game, but Denki won, which frustrated Izuku. "It's no problem. Let's just play another round." They do, and Denki won again. Izuku lets out a huff of anger and says, "I want to play with another character." Are you okay, Izuku?" "I'm fine. I'm just... Let me just play with another character." And even with the new character, Izuku still lost, and something inside of him just burst. He squeezes the controller so tightly that it actually cracks, but it was still functional. And he starts shaking out of control, and his face turns red, and a vein shows up on the top of his head. Denki was concerned and wanted to comfort his brother, but he was afraid that if he did, he might trigger something. "Again!" yelled Izuku. And he lost again, and Izuku snaps, and he yelled at the top of his lungs, "No! No, 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 no! Cheater! You cheated, Denki!" Denki starts crawling backwards out of fear, keeping his eyes in contact with Izuku. Izuku, "I swear, I didn't cheat." Izuku then said, "Liar!" He then chucks the controller into the TV, making it break completely through, with half of it sticking out through the TV. The TV was broken, yet the controller was completely intact in some ways. "Izuku, just calm down." "Don't tell me to calm down!" Izuku then activated God mode, and metallic things started flying around him. His eyes glowed, and his hair went spiky. He slowly starts walking towards Denki, and he looks deep into Denki's eyes, and he sees fear. And with that, Izuku calms down, and all the metallic things went down to the floor. I'm sorry, I don't know what got over me." Hey, it's okay, bro. The doctors did say that you would get extremely angry very easily, but I'm sure we can work on that. Denki slowly gets up and he slowly walks towards Izuku, and he deactivates God mode, and he pats him on the back. It's okay. Izuku takes in a deep breath and he looks at the TV and promises to get him a new one. The parents come in from all the ruckus that Izuku had made, and Izuku explains that he lost control. It's the next day, and Izuku was finally able to go back to school, and he is greeted by his classmates, Inasa being the loudest, the most of all, and Kami really showing off her excitement of her returned classmate, giving him a great big hug, with Nagamasa greeting him as well. 3 months had passed, and Izuku would do his best to control his anger, and he does a good job at it, and he and Denki would train to work on Black Whip with the help of All Might. And even though he is hesitant, Denki was always there to help Izuku, pushing past his fears, just like how he did when he got One for All. The boys' bond grew even stronger than before, but Izuku had one issue with his powers. They were growing stronger every day. In fact, it was so fast for him to adapt to these new abilities that he became mentally exhausted. And for the past 3 months, he kept it to himself, but he does plan on saying something about it. He's just not ready yet. Because, maybe it is all for one, or he's just, I don't know, he's just second guessing himself. I don't know what I'm going to do. Soon, class starts, and Kaiichi, the teacher, enters the classroom, and he has an announcement about the incident with Midnight. Due to her death, all of the hero schools in Japan have rushed production, and soon there will be a licensing exam. Denki is also being told about the same news, the same time as Izuku. In about a week, they will be sent to a facility where they do an assortment of tasks. If they are successful in some of them, they will be granted entrance into UA High. This caught the attention of Zuko, like, all the way. Like, if he completes this, he can actually go to UA with Denki? What does he have to do? Where does he sign up? Kaiichi goes on to explain that the last person standing gets into UA. Izuku is filled with enthusiasm. This could be his chance to be with his brother. But he thought about his friends, Kami, Inasa, Nagamasa. Heck, he even thought of Saiko as as a friend. Some time in lunch would pass. Izuku is sitting alone at the table when his friends, including Saiji, his name is Saiji, when he was joined by his friends, including Saiji. Kami, hey Izuku, what are you thinking about? I was just thinking about what the teacher said about the person who was last standing gets to go to UA. And I want to go to UA to, graduate at the same time as my brother. But he stops in mid-sentence, Nagamasa. But you don't want to leave us behind. Yeah. You guys are awesome. And I gotta say, and I just gotta tell you that. Kami chimes in, saying, yeah, we are pretty great, aren't we? They chuckle. Nagamasa tells Izuku that he actually believes that he has an even better chance of coming in first place because of him being stronger and being able to think quickly on his feet and his speed and his strength. I mean, there's no way that he's not gonna pass. Izuku smiles and says thanks. Inasa says, and besides, Izuku, even if you do end up going to UA, we're still friends, right? Yeah, you're right. Kami unexpectedly grabs a hold of Izuku's right arm and said, and besides, I still want to hang out with you some more. Maybe even spend some time where it's just you and me. Izuku says, so, like a date? Yeah. Okay. Yay! And so school had came to an end, and Izuku had greeted them farewell. But before he leaves, Izuku went to his teacher Kaiichi to ask him about his feelings that he's having about wanting to leave but not wanting to leave Shiketsu High at the same time. To which his teacher gave him the best advice that he could. Izuku is walking. When he meets the front of the house, Denki was standing there, looking like he had seen something dramatic happen. Hey, Denki. Oh, hey, Izuku. They speak at the same time. Hey, something happened today. Oh,
go first.
go first.
No,
No,
you.
you.
Hey,
Stop that. We can't keep doing this. They chuckle. And they take this inside the house. They enter their room and they sit down, and Izuku tells he can go first. Okay, do you remember when you described that guy that, took out your grandfather? Well, yeah. I think I saw him. What? Well, did he try anything with you? Did he say anything to you? Did you see his face? What happened? Calm down, Izuku. Look, I'll start from the beginning. A flashback ensues. Denki was just leaving the UA premises. He was just walking down the street by himself when all of a sudden he saw him standing there in the glimmering light of the sun with his robe covering a majority of his features as the wind blew his robe. The two stared at each other. Denki being unsure of what to do. Should he run? Should he fight? He wasn't sure. Suddenly, he slowly starts walking towards him. With each step that this man took towards him, it was like the whole earth was shaking, for Denki was scared out of his mind to a point where he couldn't move. Soon, the strange man was now 3 feet away from Denki, and basically in arm's reach of him. Denki had to look up in order to look this man in his eyes. It was still shadowy, but he saw that his eyes were blank, like a human that had lost all meaning of reasons of wanting to live. And he had mild facial hair, and he didn't seem to have any hair on the top of his head. He then slowly crouches down to Denki's level, eye to eye, and said something that he couldn't believe. He's going to die. He then stood up and walked away. Denki was still shooken by this horrible endeavor. The flashback ends, and Izuku is in disbelief. Does this man know about his family curse? Was he even talking about me? Denki speaks, and that's it. I don't know what he meant when he said that, and who he was even talking about. Izuku was acting oblivious, saying, yeah, I don't know. Maybe he was just trying to scare you or something. And maybe so, but it still scares me. Anyway, bro, what did you want to talk about? Oh, well, you see, I kind of lost my train of thought. What did I want to say? Oh, well, you see, since the school board is rushing productions, they decided to have the licensing exams early because of Midnight's death. And the first person that comes in first place, they get a spot in UA. Really, bro? Yeah, really. And I'm gonna give it my all so that I can go to the same school as you. Probably not the same class, but, at least I wouldn't have to take 3 buses just to get to my school, and also, we don't have to go our separate ways in the morning anymore. Well, bro, I have my fingers crossed for you. I mean, heck, with all the training that we've done, including Black Whip, you're guaranteed a spot in UA. Yeah, but what? It's just, I'm having second thoughts about you, Wei. They're not exactly what I thought they'd be. I mean, I made one mistake, and it was to save your life. It was for good intentions, but yet they treated me like I was a criminal or something. But in my school, it's with great people and my friends. I would miss them quite dearly. Heck, I'd even miss Saiji. Heck, even my teacher, he was really nice. Well, bro, you can see your friends anytime you want, but as your brother, I would like to have you in the same school, you know? I know. I want to be there too, which is why I'm going to give it my all in the exam. They then bump fists and we transition to the next day. Izuku wakes up from his sleep with a headache. Ow, my head. Suddenly, the headache goes away and Izuku makes his way to the bathroom. When he entered the bathroom, his head hit the door frame somehow. Ow! What the heck? He just rubs it off. After he's done showering and brushing his teeth, he goes back to the room and tries to put on clothes, only to find that his clothes are very tight on him and he can't get his pants around his waists. What the heck? He tries to put on other clothes, but they just didn't fit. Why can't I fit my clothes? Hey, Denki. Denki, who was still asleep, says, "What's up, bro? I think my clothes might have shrank." Denki turns over while saying, "What do you mean?" His eyes widen as he sees a man with Izuku's hair and Izuku's face. Wait a minute. Izuku? Yeah, what? Dude, what happened to you? What do you mean? Dude, you're a man. Yeah, I know that. No, I mean, you're huge. You look like you're in your 20s. What? Izuku looks at the nearby mirror and he sees himself. His facial expressions change from concern to worry, for he was no longer a prepubescent teenager anymore, but a fully grown man, complete with facial hair, and his voice got deeper. He drops the mirror out of shock, but before he dropped the mirror, he saw, one for all, electricity emanating throughout his entire body. He starts hyperventilating. He looks down at his hands, and he sees that his hands, or his forearms, are very hairy. What the hell happened to me? What's going on? He breathes faster, and Denki comforts him, telling him that it's going to be okay and to just take deep breaths. Why is this happening? I don't know, said Denki. But we're going to figure this out. But right now, I think it's best that we tell Mom and Dad. What? Tell Mom and Dad about this? They'll freak out. I mean, we won't know that until we try, until we do something. Come on, I think we should just get this over with. Denki slowly turns the corner. Mother and father were just at the table having their breakfast. Good morning, sweetie. Where's your brother? Yeah, about that, Izuku, come on. Izuku walks from around the corner in his underpants. Mom and Dad were bewildered of what they were seeing. So bewildered that father actually dropped his coffee and mother spilled the breakfast that was on her plate. Hey, Mom. Hey, Dad. Please don't freak out. I think I'm going through puberty, and it's hit me hard. Father then gets up, and he approaches Izuku, unsure of what to say or even what to do at this point. He touches his face, and he knows that this is, in fact, his son. Son, you have full facial hair. Yeah, I know that it's the first thing I saw when I looked in a mirror. It's funny, I thought I still had at least a year to teach you how to shave. They all laugh. It's kind of a forced laugh, and it's a bit awkward. Anyway, what am I going to do about school? They all look at each other, and a moment of silence goes by, and they decided that they're just going to inform the teachers that your quirk might be acting up and it caused you to hit puberty really, 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 really hard. Father gives Izuku some of his clothes, and Izuku shaves his face up just a little bit. And just as the boys are about to go their separate ways, Izuku asks, "Do you think that this might have something to do with One For All? Because as I looked in the mirror, I did saw its power go throughout my entire body. I don't know. I can't really put together why this is happening, but maybe we should get Toshinori involved? I'll go ahead and send him a text message. Have him meet up with us on the beach later on after school. Anyway, I'll see you after school." They both make it to school, and Izuku tries his best to hide his figure, but Kami pointed out that something looked different with Izuku. "Like, Izuku, is there something different about you?" Izuku looks left and right. "I mean, you're definitely more muscular, at least the last time I saw you, your jaw wasn't this perfectly chiseled, and your face has light stumps of hair." Izuku starts to sweat and says, "Well, I'm going through puberty." "Oh, well, that explains everything." A few hours would pass, and it was time for the gym class to begin. When Izuku stood up, everyone noticed how high he was. Kami says, "Wow, he's got a lot of height on him." When gym class began, and Izuku, along with everyone, notices that Izuku was a lot faster and stronger, and he was even more agile than the last time. It must have something to do with this new growth of his, maybe, they all assumed. Soon, school had came to an end, and Izuku was approached by his friends, concerned about him, but Izuku assures them that he's okay. Izuku is walking his way down to the beach, and while walking, he runs into his brother, Denki. "Hey, bro. How you holding up?" "Well, I couldn't quite hide all this heightness. Everyone pretty much just saw me because I'm a freaking skyscraper. But hey, at least I can dunk on anyone on the court, you know what I mean?" He says this while moving around as if he's playing basketball. "Hey, Denki, I just realized something. We destroyed the beach, yeah?" "Yeah, we did. And I've been meaning to apologize lately about that. It's just, you're my brother, and I thought you really could use me after finding out what happened to your real mom. Hey, it's okay, bro. I understand. Who knows? Maybe we didn't mess up the beach so bad." "Yeah, hopefully." In the distance, they see a bright light and a rainbow. "Hey, what's that?" said Denki. Soon, they turn the corner and they see the beach, only it wasn't a beach anymore. What the boys saw was a land made purely out of glass. It had glass sculptures that were big and small all over the place. Even the ground that they walked on had a path that was clear as crystal. "Whoa, this is beautiful. We sure as heck didn't do this." "You're right. Somebody must have taken our bad situation and made it into something good." Something everyone can enjoy. And through the ray of the sunlight as it sets on the horizon, the Crystal Palace, it shines through the glass, making a glorious rainbow. The boys soak in the beauty until they hear the words, "I am here," from behind them. There stood the number one hero, All Might, with his iconic smile. "Hello there, young Kaminari. Where is your brother?" Denki then points at an adult Izuku, and All Might looks back and forth between the two, and he realizes, "Oh, It's you? How many years has it been? It's only been a couple days. But how is it that you look this old? That's what we were hoping you'd know, All Might. Izuku just woke up one day and he just looked like this. We think it might have something to do with One for All. All Might thinks for a moment and says that he's going to do research on the previous users of One for All, but for right now, Izuku should probably just stay low for a while. The boys did not like that response, but what other choice did they have? It's the next day, and Izuku and Kami are on their date, having a good time. But Izuku notices the amount of people that were staring at them. What, this grown man hanging out with a 14-year-old girl? But Kami couldn't care less about who was staring. She was too busy having a good time. After a while, the two sat down at a park bench as the sun was still overhead. They chatted up for a while. They talked about their past and their present. But Kami asked Izuku a question. Hey, Izuku? Yeah? I was just wondering if you wanted to be in a serious relationship with me. Izuku was a bit flustered by that. I mean, he's had feelings for Kami ever since the first time he saw her. But this is just kind of sudden for Izuku. Izuku blushes a bit and says, oh, well, I have liked you for quite a while now. I mean, you're fun, you're energetic, you're kind, joyful, and I'm always happy when I'm with you, even right now. Izuku pauses, and he sees past Kami, and what he saw nearly made his heart stop. For a moment, he saw a man in a red suit standing there, not looking directly at him, but it was a man in a red suit just standing there. Kami sees the worried look on Izuku's face and says, hey, are you okay, Izuku? Izuku looks at her and then back at the man, and he says, Kami, I need you to do something for me. Sure, what is it? Izuku remembers that the only people who can see the red man are destined to die. So since Kami's not a part of his family, maybe it can't be true. I need you to look over there. Do you see a red man? Yeah, I see a man in a red suit. It looks like he's getting a family photo right now. Izuku looks closer and she's right. It is a man, indeed, just wearing red with the rest of his family, all wearing matching outfits. Izuku's heart finally was relieved, for he thought he saw the real thing. What's wrong, Izuku? It's nothing, it's just, I'm scared of the color red. Oh, you have chromophobia? Yeah, whenever I see the color red, I just get terrified. But yeah, I'm okay now. But about your question, well, Izuku starts thinking. He really wants to be in a relationship with her, but right now, he doesn't feel like he has a good grip on his life. What with school, his training, and his crazy power-ups that grow stronger every day, his life is not stable right now, and he doesn't want to bring Kami in the middle of it. He just doesn't feel ready either. Kami, you're beautiful, you're smart, and any guy would be lucky to have you. But I'm just not ready to be in a relationship yet, with everything that's going on in my life. But I am hoping that we could still be friends, though. Kami says, oh, yeah, okay, that's fine. She smiles, but she was kind of sad that Izuku said no. But she does remember she said not now. So maybe in the future she can try again. Which cheers her up. Anyway, their date comes to an end and Izuku walks her home, and they bid each other farewell. It's the next day, and Izuku is doing his morning jog when he gets a text from Jiro saying to meet her somewhere at a certain time, and to not be late. Soon, Izuku meets Jiro at a park where she had a basketball at her waist. She sees Izuku and she says, "Wow, when your brother said you hit puberty really hard, he was not kidding. You look like a man right now." Izuku jokingly chuckles. "Yeah, I know, it's crazy." Jiro says, "Anyway, I want to see how good you are on the field." She then throws the ball at Izuku's chest, knocking some air out of him, but he catches it. "You're on, Jiro. Let's begin." He starts to dribble the ball and they begin. They take it to the court, and the two are laying waste to each other. Like, Izuku would use his height to his advantage, holding the ball over Jiro's head as she tries to jump up and take the ball from him, and Izuku dribbles the ball around her, and he easily dunks the ball through the hoop. But Jiro had more speed than him. And at one point, she tricked Izuku into jumping into the air, thinking that she was about to dunk the ball, only for her to run underneath him and dunk the ball that way. This goes on for a while, but it ends with Izuku being victorious. Izuku suggests that they go get some food, and they do. And as they are eating, Jiro thinks, "Wait, is this a date or something?" Izuku says, "Would it be a problem if it was?" "No." "Then it's a date." Jiro laughs as she blushes a bit, saying, "You're such a dork." It's been a while, and Izuku walks Jiro home. They talk for a while, and as they reach the front porch of Jiro's house, she comments about how much of a good time she's had, and Izuku would tell her that he's happy that she had a good time. "You know, Izuku, has anyone ever told you how awesome you are?" The thing is, people don't need to tell me. I know I'm awesome." "But Jiro, has anyone ever told you how spectacular you are?" She blushes a bit from that comment, and soon, they were already at her front doorstep. And Jiro asked Izuku the same question Kami asked, if he wanted to be her boyfriend. But Izuku turned her down gently, saying that he's going through a tough situation in his life and he would hate to drag her into it before he can even be ready to be in a serious relationship. Jiro, being a bit sad, but she tells Izuku that if he's ever going through something in his life, then she can always be there for him. "Thank you, Jiro. It really means a lot to hear you say that. I'll see you around." Just as Izuku is about to walk away, Jiro stops him and she kisses him on his facial cheek. He blushes a bit and Jiro says a little something for being kind. And she enters her house. Izuku smiles and we skip to the next day. And Izuku was sitting at lunch with the rest of his friends when all of a sudden someone ran in screaming that the video is out, the video is out. Izuku asks, "What video?" And the guy mentions the video of Midnight's death. Everyone quickly ushers to their phone, and Izuku finds it, and his heart stops completely from what he saw. In the video, Midnight was in the middle of the streets, taking down one of the Nomus, when all of a sudden she was approached by someone just a few feet away, walking up to her. It was the man Izuku saw emerge from that light in the forest. He was wearing the same black robe, with the hoodie covering his head. The two eyes meet, and even though the video had no audio, people were able to read Midnight's lips, saying, "Who are you?" The mystery man then slowly lowered his hood, but it was too hard to see his face, for the video was too blurry, so no one was able to see his face. But everyone could tell that by Midnight's expression that she knew who this man was. "Wait, are you?" A bullet then pierces through her head, and she dies, and the video ends. Everyone starts talking about what they just saw in the video. Some were shocked, others were confused of why she didn't fight. Izuku starts shaking with rage. This man, who is he? He shot and he killed my grandfather, and now he killed one of his favorite heroes? His friends see his reaction and try to ask him if he's okay, but Izuku, knowing what's about to happen, quickly got up. He went outside, made an electric shield around him, and he lashes out of anger, electricity exploding from his body, and he starts glowing brightly, activating God mode, and people can see him floating in the center of this bubble. His eyes glow, and the ground starts to crack. The whole earth started shaking, and he stops by letting out the loudest scream that his throat can muster. And then he stops. He is now on his knees, breathing as if he had ran a marathon, and then he deactivated God mode. A random student says, What's wrong with that guy? Keimi, along with Inasa and Nagamasa, ran towards Izuku, making sure that he's okay. Izuku struggles to say that he knew who this man was, but he couldn't get the words out. A few hours later, Izuku gets back home and tells Denki what's wrong, and Denki would tell Izuku that he saw the video too. Just who is this guy? Why is he messing with my life? He killed my grandfather. He killed a hero. What does he want from me? Izuku starts frantically pacing back and forth, just expressing his feelings and how angered he is by this. Denki comforts him. It's okay, Izuku. Now, I don't know what this guy's business is, but we will find him or something, and we will bring him to justice. Izuku calms down and nods in agreement when suddenly there's a knock at the door. The parents were at home, so Izuku volunteers to get it. He asks who is it multiple times, but no response. And without even looking through the peephole, Izuku opens the door and his eyes widen. For who stood there was the mystery man. While Izuku was in shock, he was then met with a punch to the chest, and he flew backwards, crashing into the wall, making a loud noise. Denki came down to investigate, and he sees what's going on, and he sees that this man had hurt Izuku. This angered the elderly brother, and he charges at the man and hits him with a barrage of punches. It seems to be effective, but then the strange one-armed man fights back, getting the upper hand on Denki, knocking him into submission. Izuku gets up and fights back. He also lays down a barrage of punches, doing as much damage, but somehow this one-armed man gets the upper hand on him, and he does something that Izuku did not see coming. With one hand, the one-armed man then extends his right hand out, and he launches a large body of water from the palm of his hands at Izuku. The impact of the water was so powerful that it blew Izuku backwards, that he busted through the wall and landed in the backyard. Izuku's mind was rattled from the hit. His skin burns from his quirk in this water. When he looked up, his vision was blurry, but he faintly saw the mystery man coming at him. With his right hand, he reaches behind him, and he pulls out his Queen Anne pistol and aims it at Izuku. It was at that moment Izuku thought that his life was over, and his life started flashing before him. But he sees the man hesitating. His hand started shaking. But before he could actually do it, Denki then jumped on the man's back, yelled, "Leave my brother alone!" He then quickly grabbed his one arm and aimed the gun at the sky, and he fired it. Denki then bit the man on his neck through his jacket, and the man let out a scream as he pistol-whipped Denki's head, leaving a large black and purple bruising on the left side of his forehead. Izuku got up. He was furious, and he turned into his giant wolf form, and he attacked the man. And considering the fact that Izuku had doubled in size, I would say that his wolf also doubled in size to a point where he was able to hold even an average-sized man in his mouth. He then lunged at the man, and he would bite him on his torso, swinging his head left from right, like a dog playing with a chew toy. When Izuku thinks that he's had enough, he then lunged him at a metal gate, and the metal gate caved in, falling over, causing the man great pain as blood began seeping through the large bite wounds on his torso. Izuku wasn't finished with him. Izuku then blasted the mystery man with his mouth beam, using other abilities such as lightning, lightning whip, lightning tendrils. He activated God mode using his abilities to emit a golden aura, and his eyes glowed yellow, even sending electricity through the ground and at this mystery man, just wanting to kill him once and for all. Denki sees this, and he sees that Izuku is losing control. He yells at Izuku to stop, and Izuku hears his brother's voice, and he stops. Izuku then tends to his brother. "Are you okay?" "Yeah, I'm fine." He slowly gets up, holding on to his wound. Izuku looks over and he sees the mystery man getting up, and he's surprised. How is he even still alive? He then looks down at the ground, and he sees that the ground was wet, and he used water as a sort of shield against his attacks. Izuku growls at the man, and the man runs away. Izuku tries to go after him, but Denki stopped him, saying that he left and that is no longer threatening us, and that they need to call the police. Izuku agrees, and time passes. Pro heroes and the police had shown up, including mother and father. The boys were not hurt to a point where they needed to be hospitalized, just a few burns and scrapes. The boys were questioned by the police, and they told him as much as they can, but even through all that squabbling and all that being tossed around, they were still unable to see his face. Mother and father were furious at themselves that they weren't there to protect their boys, but more than anything, they're just happy that they're alive. When all was said and done, the police left. Some pro-heroes stayed to protect the Kaminari family in case the mystery man returned. The brothers finally got enough alone time to talk amongst each other about what happened. Izuku says, "Denki, he knows where we live." "How does he know?" "I don't know, Izuku." But a flashback ensues of the moment where the stranger pulled out his gun and aimed it at his brother. The flashback ends. "I was so scared that I wouldn't reach you on time. When I saw him aim his gun at you, I... Denki starts tearing up, and Izuku comforts him, telling him, "Hey, it's okay," and that he's grateful that he saved him. Yeah, but he then walks over to the window that leads to the backyard where the fight had taken. "But if I was too late, Hang on. Izuku, come over here." What is it?" They both look out the window, and Denki points to a certain part of the backyard. "Look, over there." "Is that a book?" "I don't know. Come on, let's go get it and check it out." They usher outside, being cautious of their surroundings, and they quickly retrieve the book and take it inside. It was an old journal. It was made out of brown leather, and it had a strap on it in order to keep the book closed. What is this? It appears to be a sort of journal of some sorts. They start reading it, and it shows the boys' schedule of the time that they leave for school and the time that they get back home from school. Like from kindergarten to middle school to high school. Almost every day of their lives. "This is creepy," said Denki. "Has this guy been stalking us since we were born?" "I don't know, but he's gonna pay for what he did." I swear, even if it's the last thing I do. Izuku, listen to this. It's the date at the time of the attack, which is today. It says the timeline still hasn't changed yet. I feel like if I don't do anything, it's all gonna happen again. Maybe if I just end it now before it happens. No, no, I have to keep trying. If killing Midnight wasn't good enough, then I'll have to strike fear into their hearts. But if push comes to shove, I'll have to do it. I don't want to go through that again. Izuku says, what does he mean by can't go through that again? End timelines? Is this guy a time traveler of some sort? I don't know. Wait, there's more. It shows the date of the licensing exam. It says you come in first place, but you stay at Shiketsu High because it's where you want to be. Izuku is officially creeped out by this. What the hell? Said Izuku. Denki keeps reading, even about the attack on the UA camping trip. All Might fights a man named All for One, and it has a disturbing ending to it. Izuku, it says you die, taking out All for One with you. Izuku's eyes widen. I die? And that's where we're going to leave the story there. Man, things are getting juicier by the day, I'm telling you, when I read these stories. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this What If, and if you made it to the end of this video, be sure to consider yourselves #bless, and make sure to give this video a like, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.